Hi everybody, Bill here. Remember when I got together with Kenny Clower and we invented a way to turn your backhoe bucket into a ditch bucket? Well, I got together again with Kenny and now we've reinvented the paddle so it has a ripper tooth. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's get started. All right, here's what I took to Kenny, explained to him what I wanted to do. So he welded on 2 angle irons, welded them on the back, and then he put holes in the side so that I can bolt that ripper tooth. That's just a king cutter replacement ripper tooth. So I can put 2 bolts through that at any time, and notice I can slide it up and down. I can get as much as 15 inches of depth if that's what I'm looking for, and then bolt it, and we're ready to go. My hopes are that I can pick up landscaping blocks, maybe rip up some small tree stumps, roots, and some rocks that I have lying right underneath my sod at my house. I like the spacing he has there for that ripper tooth. It slides real easy. A couple of bolts through there. There's what it's going to look like after I get it all primed and painted, and we'll mount it. All right, let me show you how it slips on the bucket. I'll put a video down below showing my original design of this in case you're interested. Here's what it looks like bolted on. Now we're ready to put the ripper tooth on. Again, I like the way he lined all the holes up so I can adjust it up and down. So what do you think? Is it going to work? I know the answer. You're going to have to stick around and see. I think you'll be surprised. Our first project is going to be dig up a pear tree, 8-inch diameter on the stump. I thought, gosh, I should be able to go in and just grab these roots and tip that thing over pretty quick, right? Now let's take a look and see how this goes. My thought process is I usually grab the stump like a loose tooth and wiggle it to see how much resistance I'm starting off with. And then my next step is to dig on the outside and see if I can find the roots. Now remember, I've got about a 15-inch reach there into the ground. So I'm going to feel around there and see if I can find any of those roots. Then my thought is to curl up and break those roots. I found one there. Okay, there's probably the same root. So there I'm wiggling to say, okay, how much force or resistance am I going to have? All right, let's stop the video a minute. So I've been doing this 3 minutes and I'm not real happy with it. The angle of the ripper should be following the bucket more. I can't curl it. Here's a picture of B expanded. They've got a tooth like this. Notice it mounts right up where the dipper stick is. Has serrated teeth on the end. So I think you could pull through that root a little bit easier than I'm trying to do, don't you? That's the angle I wish it was at, but I don't know how we're going to accomplish this. My wife's been telling me just because we can, maybe we shouldn't. I think she might be right. We'll continue to watch here, and we'll have some more play-by-play. All right, so you can see I've changed positions. I'm going to try to cut those roots from that angle. And you can't tell it, but what I'm trying to do here is curl the bucket back like I was talking about before. And I'm thinking, darn it, I can't curl it enough. It sinks right into the ground pretty nice, doesn't it? Here's another angle. You can see what I'm trying to do is get on both sides of the stump. And what I'm realizing is it's kind of becoming just kind of a test pilot here, so to speak. And this is just entertainment value. I'm already thinking this probably isn't going to work. But since I'm this far into it, I'm going to go ahead and continue. I've taken out stumps like this before, and you get that bucket underneath there and you curl it. That's where your power really comes from, is curling that bucket under the root, and it'll take them up pretty quick. So I'm going a little bit further out, trying to find a root that I can snap or cut through or bring up. So let's continue here and we'll see how things go. And if you like the videos I put out, please consider smashing down that like button. It helps me out a lot with YouTube and their algorithm system. All right, so far I'm not happy with how it's working. Note the cylinder's all the way in, the bucket's tilted all the way back. I really wanted this to go back further. Something like that. Rather than this, it's too straight. I need something like this
to dive in, then I can curl my bucket up and get under those roots. So we're going to try a few more things today, but
I'm not sponsored by Be Expanded today, but I'm going to show their ripper tooth again. Having it mounted where they do, where the bucket would be, allows them to have that curl that I'm complaining about here. And then with that serrated tooth, they probably have a pretty good design, don't you think? If you have one of these, let me know how it works. I'm realizing I'm really a test pilot on this project here. When I dig down, well, let's back up. I've extended the bucket reach by 15 inches as shown by that one arrow. So the dipper stick's 15 inches longer. So as I dig in, the force pulls up, and it must really put a lot of pressure on the red arrow, what the red arrow is showing, that joint between the boom and the dipper stick. You know, the more I'm looking at this, the more this isn't the right solution. I've got to, like when you lift something, if it's heavier, you bring it in closer to your chest, not reaching out further. So this is really going bad quickly, isn't it? Now on this path, I finally find a root. You'll see it kind of pop up here. There it is. So I finally got through it. You know, I'm not going to do this again with this, but I'm this far into it. I'm going to continue. But I've invented something here that I don't know what the use is yet. But it's surely not digging up these stumps. I probably would have been done with this quite a while ago if I would have just used the bucket. And the mess or the damage to my yard wouldn't have been any less, would it? Hey, while we watch me finish this project here, I wanted to say hi to Jerry out in Venus, Pennsylvania. He's 55 miles southeast of Erie. Kevin checked in from Columbia, Illinois. That's just south of St. Louis. And Carney Potts checked in from Marion, Iowa. That's just down the road, about 45 minutes. And SNJ checked in from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. That's the home of the Cherokee Nation, where there's 2 federally recognized Cherokee tribes. Look it up. It's kind of interesting. Thanks so much for checking in, fellas and everybody. I sure appreciate learning where you're watching from and taking the time to say hello. Thank you very much. Well, we're getting real close. The final thinking on this is I'm not going to dig up stumps with this anymore. I'm going to just use my bucket like I used to and have good luck. But it was kind of a neat demonstration. I would like to hear how the Be Expanded ripper tooth works. If you have one of them, let me know. Finally won the war on this when we cut that root off to the right and got him out of there. So let's haul this thing off to the pit, and then we're going to move on to the next project. And the second half doesn't take too long. Well, watch and see.
all right, today we're going to go in some of the areas that are they burn out every year. And what I found out is, listen, hear that? There's a rock about that deep. And you get to August and the ground heats up and it can't support any growth for this grass, so it burns out. There's another one. I think it's one big slab in here. Because when we built our house, I backfilled with low-cost dirt that had a lot of rocks in it. Then I top dressed it, covered it all up with a better soil. And over the past 30 years, we're building our soil up so to support a real nice yard. But there's a few areas, and this is one reason for inventing this tooth in the first place, was if I can get in there and just get a hold of that and just plop that up, how's it going to work? I know where my gas line is. It's right in here. So we're going to see if we're going to scrape that, and we're going to see what we catch.
Oh man, I'm never at the proper position from where I want to dig. I've always got to start and then reposition.
Right? Is it wall break?
No. Oh, yeah. The weld broke.
Really? One of Kenny's welds broke. Holy smokes.
Damn it. You know, I had a hold of that rock slab, and I'm glad it broke because I was probably setting myself up for a bent cylinder. I'm never doing that again. So note to self, this idea sucks. I'm not doing it. Now my plans for the next one is after I get it back to Kenny's shop, have him weld it and fix it, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. I want to start taking my retaining wall down, and I'm hoping using this I can pick up the landscape blocks. I don't want to put my hands in there where this thing's been sitting for a few years, all full of all kinds of critters in there. But then when I take my wall down too, I want to be able to put the hook through the top since they're hollow and lift those up. Unlike when I tore down the retaining wall last time, man, that's just heavy bowl of work. So I'm going to try to get away from that. You know, I was just thinking the other day, I started watching that Golden Bachelor, that goofy show. First dates for me would be, can you run a chainsaw, can you back a trailer, and you know how to tear down a retaining wall? That'd be a realistic date, right? I was lucky and got a real good wife that can do all that. Hey, here it's all welded back together. Kenny's got it ready to go. I'm going to get it back on the tractor. We're going to move on to that retaining wall I spoke about. Be sure and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss any of that because we're going to show the ripper tooth back in action. Do you think it's going to work on that retaining wall? Because it's been a big bust so far, hasn't it? Hey, have a great month. Be kind to each other, and I'll talk with you soon. So long, everybody.